The Painting with Magic Show with Brandon Thomas is brought to you by BrandonThomasArtSupply.com.
Hey, it's Brandon T here with the Painting with Magic Show, and today we're going to do another great little project for you. What I have here is my 16 by 20 canvas, and I've already covered that with Amazing White. This is a Fredrix Red label cotton canvas, and the Amazing White is on there to make the canvas tacky. That way we can blend directly on the canvas. And I didn't even wash the brush today because we want to have a small, kind of a lighter sky today in this one. The oil colors that I'm using will be in the description. We should have a little thing on the screen with a picture of this palette with colors on it. Okay? And the only color that I'm using that's probably listed on there that I'm not using today is Phthalo Blue. That's not on the palette today. So, and those are Grumbacher pre-tested colors. So you ready? Get monkey faced on it. So we're going to take the old 2-inch brush with the Amazing White Steel little on it, and we're going to go to just a little bit of Prussian blue. Just a little bit, right on the old 2-inch brush. Just a tiny little bit. Okay, let's go back up to this canvas now. Alrighty, so now I'll start to decide. I don't want a lot of sky today, just a little bit. And let's just start right up here. And just work this all the way across there. Just all the way across. Don't want a whole lot of sky today. Okay. I'll tell you what, I may just add a little bit more blue to this brush real quickly. Just a little bit more blue. I'm going to start on this side and work it over. Again, I don't need a whole lot of blue today. Don't need a whole lot of blue. Okay, just like that. That's going to probably work out really, really good for us today. Just a little bit of blue. Okay, there we go. There, good. That'll be the sky. Okay, so we have our nice little blue sky in there. Just a simple little blue sky. That's all I'm looking for today. I not want too much in there, because the main subject today is going to be some big, strong, beautiful mountains in there. I think we'll have 2 in there. Maybe one's in the distance a little bit more, and bring one a little forward. And once that one's done, then we can get down here and just put some stuff in down here, and then we'll have a nice little painting. So I'll tell you what we'll do. Let me just put my brush down, grab my old palette knife here, make sure it's good and clean. And then we'll take some titanium white here. Let's get some white. A little white. Let's get some Prussian blue. Let's get some red here, some Grumbacher red. And I think I'll take some burnt umber with it. And let's mix this up. Yeah. Nice color. Now this is what we typically standardly use for our mountains, but I think it might be a little too light, so I'm going to add some black. Tell you what, I'll scrape it over here, grab about half of that color. I'm going to grab more ivory black. And a little more Prussian blue, a little more burnt umber. Okay, this one a little darker. A little more black. Okay, I think that's good. I'm going to take a roll of this paint here. I'm going to go up here to put a little mountain in, okay? Let's go up here. Now you make a decision where your mountain's going to be. Mine's going to be right here. We'll go down and over like that right there. Don't want a whole lot here. This is going to be in the distance. This is going to be a little bit farther away than the other mountain. I love making these multiple layers of mountains. Ah, man, they're fun to do. And they look really good. There. I'm going to scratch this off here now. Very important to scratch it. There we go. And I'll clean that old knife off. Okay, now I'm going to grab a big old brush here, big old 2-inch brush here, and just start pulling out this paint. It's very important that you pull this paint out. This paint is going to allow you to highlight your mountain with a lot more ease. Okay, now amazing why it's allowing us to do it. Alright, there we go. Good. Alright, so now we got that there. It's time to make us some highlight color up here. Let's go to the palette. Okay, so right here we're going to mix this up a color. We're going to take some titanium white. And we're always going to start with titanium white. And then burnt umber and some burnt sienna in there with it. And then mix that up real good. We're going to make a brown one today. Oh yeah. So we got this color here. I want to take a little more burnt umber with it. Probably just a tiny touch of blue. That'll gray it down just a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to take more titanium white. Add that right here, making a lighter color. Right next to that one. Okay, maybe a little more burnt sienna. Kind of change the flavor up just a little bit more with it. Okay, just a little bit more. Alright, let's clean that knife and get us a little roll of this darker color. Just going to get a little roll of this paint, okay? Just a little roll of that. Okay, now let's go up here now. Now you got to make a decision kind of how your highlights are going to go. Are they going to go to the right or are they going to go to the left today? But you make that decision up. And let's come in here now and start to highlight this mountain. Maybe. Might just a little black to that color we made up earlier. I'm just going to scratch that off. It's too light. Too light. Okay. See? If you make a mistake, you can fix it that easily. And so we're going to go with a little lighter color here. I mean a little darker. So I just add a little black. Let's add a little black to it. And with no pressure at all, we're going to start highlighting this little mountain. And I'm putting this basically all over this mountain here. But I'm going to give myself some shapes out of it. Let's get some shapes out of that. Okay. And you can always take and go back to this little dark mountain color and just adding in your shadows to it. You know, kind of going back in here, adding a little more shadow. But again, this one's going to be in the distance. But this is how you just get some extra little details in your mountains. You go back and forth. But I shouldn't have to add too much more of this mountain mixture color in here. It's just simply because it's not needed. I'm going to go back to this lighter color now that we mixed up. And then start to make some more better highlights here. Start picking out the area that you're going to do. And we're going to use no pressure. Let that paint just stick on there. You should feel the paint just stick and not want to let go. You shouldn't want to even let go. You shouldn't even want to let go of this knife. It should grab it and then you just tell it where to go, what direction to go in, because it's going to stick right on there. There we go. Good. Now I'm going to go to the even lighter color that we made. I'm going to put it on the little edge of the knife. And we're going to go up here. Just start adding some of this in it. That's even lighter. It's even lighter. There we go. And again, over here we just throw in a few right through there. And then a few kind of like so. And then we just take our knife and then we can kind of blend these areas kind of together. Not really, but kind of smudging a little bit. It just helps with this mountain. Okay, there you see. These mountains are so fun to do. I think everybody would be happy to do these mountains. I'm just going to add a little more white to that color. Just going to shoot just a little bit of light on top of that one. Maybe a little zinger there. There we go. Back to the middle cone. There we go. And that's that mountain there. Looks pretty good. There. And then I'll just take and I'm going to grab my old Hake brush. And just go right in here. And soften the base of this. Just soften the base. I told you this season we were going to focus on doing mountains this season. And that's what I want to do. I want to focus on mountains. I want to get you some really good looking mountains up here. Okay, I'll tell you what, you're going to have a little excitement here now. Because now I want to blend this mountain out just a little bit. So I'm going to use no pressure at all. Just some airs with some air in it. Just a tiny little bit. Just ever so softly. Ever so gently. Kind of soften this mountain just a little bit. Just so we can just kind of put it back there in the distance a little bit more. And you can see we got some of that mountain color mixed in there with it. That's not bad. I'm going to take a little bit of Amazing One on that brush. And there we have it. There's that mountain. Okay, good little mountain there. I think it's pretty good. That's one thing with the Hake brush. Sometimes you get these hairs. Every now and then it'll just start popping out on them. Okay, so there's that. Okay, let's do another mountain. How about it? To tell you what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take my old palette knife, go right back down to this palette here. And that's our color we used for the mountain earlier. But I'm going to reach up here and I'm going to grab some black with that. And I'm going to mix that in there with it to make it darker. So whatever we're done, we're just going to make it a little darker. A little more blue, a little more burnt umber, and a little more red with it. Okay, and we're going to use the exact same mixture of highlights. We've got a darker one, middle tone, and a highlight tone, and then another nice little bit of brightness there. So you can see the colors we're going to use. So I'm going to go back here. That might be a little too on the green side, so I'm going to add a little more red to that. A little too blue. Add a little more blue, red to that. Just want to warm it up. So I'm going to take some burnt sienna with it. That'll help warm it up. It's a little too cool. I want it to be a little more warm. Okay, and we'll take that little roll and we'll go right up here to our canvas. So now we're going to make a decision as to where our big old mountain's going to live at. I'm going to put them to the left of this one here. And we'll just decide here. Let's just make them a little taller. Go down, over, just like that. And again, if you don't feel comfortable enough to do this with the palette knife, you can use a filbert brush. You can use your finger if you need to, or whatever you got. There it goes. Goes there. And it goes right up here, just like that. Maybe even a little peak it lives right there. You just make your decisions up as to how you want it to go. And you just do it. Then I just stretch it all out. I'll add a little more paint inside of this big one here. Just simply because there's quite a bit here. It needs to be pulled out. And you probably hear that knife really scratching that canvas. And I am scratching it pretty good, but not as hard as it sounds, because that microphone's going to pick it right up. And then we're going to go back and do the same thing. We're going to take a big old brush, or you can use a 1-inch brush, or whatever you got. And just pull this out. Pull it out. Another big old mountain. There we go. And then we can start to highlight them again. So, let's see here. Maybe I want to make a decision here. I don't like that right there ridge. I'm just going to change that ridge up. Just a little bit. See how you can make a decision and make a change. Make a change on it. And that easily we just change our little mountain just a little bit. But again, if you don't pull this paint out, it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to get them highlights to stick for you. So I'm going to take a row of our darker color we used for this mountain here. We're going to start working on this mountain with the darker color. And work it all over that canvas. But don't just smush it in anywhere. Just make sure you think of your shapes. Think of your shapes, okay? Yeah, I think I can see a little ridge in that one. But you'll start seeing all these beautiful things when you paint. Especially with an old knife. Okay. Let's see. Let's go right here. Maybe there's a big round spot there. I sure hope it's picking up on here on the camera. Okay, so we just shut down the back light so maybe we can see this a little better. Okay, so we'll just keep working on through here. And I think what I did, I shut down those backlights. We just couldn't see them. We couldn't see what he's doing on here. The glare was just too bad. So I just had them lights shut down. Because we've got so much going on in this mountain today. I just want you to be able to see what I'm actually doing. I try to kill the glare as best I can. I ain't gonna be able to do all the glare because this is thick paint. Thick paint going on this canvas. And we do another one. So get it on, think about it. Think about it how you want it. How you want it to live. I'm wanting some. I do want some mist to be growing around and around through here as well. Okay, so work it in. Get it on. Working it over here now. Using no palette knife. No palette knife is your best friend, I'm telling you right now. Use that palette knife. And then right here, we'll just let it go right down that mountain. Well, you make a decision and you roll with it. And like I said, I'm going to go back now to some of the shadow colors, which is the mountain base color. We're just taking it directly onto the knife and just going to add it in. And this will bring those ridges out of your mountain. It'll bring them right out of your mountain. And it adds texture to it. Okay, see how I'm just adding that texture right in here? And I'm going to go in here and just start to adding in some more of this shadow color, which is just our mountain mixture we use just for the base of the mountain. Okay. So far, so good. It just layer upon top of layer on top of layer is the deal. So you're putting on a few layers of paint. That's why you want a nice thin coating of whatever our shadow or whatever our mountain color is going to mountain mixture color is going to be, because you're going to be putting on layer on top of layer on here. And so you have to understand that. It needs to be thin. Back to that color. And yeah, and you can see how it just starts to work. The mountain starts just to come to life. It just starts to come to life right before our eyes. And that's when you're painting with magic right there. When you see it all come together. Finally coming together. You just move around the page, moving around and around, and then finally here it comes. Here's our mountain. So these are two basic shadow and highlight colors, texture colors, if you will, as well. And so this is the backdrop of our mountain that way of painting. But then you gotta be very, very careful when you start playing with them dark colors, because man, oh man, I tell you what. Oh, and them highlight colors, because them highlights is your enemy. You may be saying, what? The highlights make it look good. Yeah, but I tell you what. So does your enemy. Your enemy makes you look good too sometimes, right? Or yeah, whoever tries to make you look bad. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that the shadows is our friend. And that's what we want to do. Now we're going to go into the lighter color that we use on the other mountain. That's white, burnt sienna, and burnt umber together. We're trying to go to a middle tone. Not quite the white, but you know, getting into the lighter color. And then we'll go right up here. We're going to go right up here. And using no pressure at all, start to add in our second highlight color. Right down that mountain it goes. Right down it goes. You see? You see how you make all these decisions on here? And make just some beautiful mountains. There's a nice little one right there. See, you make the decision and you just roll with that decision. Just go with it. Back to some more shadows. Okay, we'll start working on this little one. We're going to use a little small edge of the knife. Just to get those little highlights in. It's our second string of highlights, that's all it is. I just want to bring some of that into the shadow. I'm just kind of softening with my knife. If that makes any sense to you. There we go. Now I'll tell you what, let's start making this mountain come even more alive. I'm going to take some of the lighter color, just a little bit of the lighter color, the third color. And then you gotta start being careful as you go with these other layers. Careful, be careful, be careful. Okay. Do you see those? Now that mountain starts to come to life. Now this mountain starts to come to life. Starts really looking good. Starts really looking good. Okay, right through here's a little bit. And then we can just put a little on this right here. Put a little on that one. And we put a little on this one here. And now we go into the beautiful, bright, powerful one. Okay, I'm going to take this little of that. It's a little lighter. It's got more white in it. And I'm just going to try to punch it up a little bit. Just a little extra. Just on a few of these. No pressure. I'm telling you, if you can make these mountains, if you can do the Snow Peak mountains, then you can do these mountains too. Same thing. You just gotta know that you gotta have that pressure down. No pressure. I'm barely holding this palette knife. Okay, I'm barely touching because it's such a strong stroke. It's such a strong stroke. Okay, such a strong stroke. Can I kind of soften it down? I'll come back in here. Pick up some more areas that maybe have a shadow to them. Just kind of pulling things around. Pulling things around. Okay. There we go. And I sure hope the lighting it's showing this a lot better. Or showing this on the canvas, or showing it on the camera. Okay, hoping you can see that. I want some more shadow inside of this. Maybe that'll make it look a little better there. But constantly look at your mountain. Stand back from your mountain. Take a look and see what you got going on. And you may find that you may need to add a little shadow somewhere. Like I said before, them highlights feel good. Man, they feel good when you put them highlights on. And the next thing you know, you just got a big old highlight on there. You ain't got a mountain left. So make sure you play with them shadows, play with them highlights, and just see what you get. Now, these are a little more challenging. These are more challenging. I'm gonna lie to you. They're a more challenging mountain to do. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to make some mist at the bottom of this. Make some mist at the bottom of this. I'm going to take my old Hake brush and just start to make the mist. Kind of the same way we did up there. Okay, about the same way. I'm going to take some amazing white. And I just loaded some amazing white into the brush. Just because I want it to be a little lighter in here. You know, I want to make that mist a little lighter. So I just add a little amazing white to that. We want some distance in here. Okay, there we have it. There we go. Good, 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 good. Okay, so now we have our beautiful little mountains in here. I want to start adding a field of grass in here, but we're going to go right underneath this mist so we can push this stuff back. So let's take an old 1-inch brush and we're going to fill it in. So we're going to take some cadmium yellow light. So cadmium yellow light, we'll grab a little yellow ochre. Yellow ochre just nice and tones it down just a little bit. I'm going to grab a little sap green, a little bit of phthalo green with it. And phthalo green just gives a beautiful color to foliage and stuff. So maybe some of this titanium white too, just over here. Okay, tell you what, let's go back up here now to the canvas. So again, I said right underneath this mist, we're going to start adding in a field. I'm going to start adding in a field here. Okay, nice and yellowy. And then I'll just gradually I'll add more green to it. A little more sap green, a little more yellow ochre. Maybe just a drop of red. I'm going to go below that one now. See, it's a little greener. And start blending that in there with it. Okay, but now I want to get a little darker, so I'll add a little black. Just to kind of gray it down a little bit, because it's a little too cartoony. Okay, just grain it down some, and then I'm going to take more sap green, more phthalo green together, a little more of the yellows, yellow ochre. Yellow ochre is good just for graying down things, and a little touch of red with it. Even do a little bit of that mountain color with it. But as you can see, I'm just trying to get a darker field. I'm just trying to get a little darker here. As you can see that? You see there? Get that darker field there. I'm going to take more of the mountain color with it. All I'm doing is I'm just making it the same thing we just did, but just darker. Just making it darker. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Okay, so I just want to show you my palette here. I just started working right here with the yellow and the yellow ochre, and I put that in. And then I just added a little more sap green, a little more phthalo green, a little dot of red, and the second tone. Third tone, I started adding some mountain mixture to it, a little bit more at a time. And that way, that it gets darker and darker and darker down here as it gets towards the foreground. Okay. And then I want to take my old brush here, this old Hake brush we used, and just soften out the edge of that grass. I just want to soften it into the mist. Okay, put it out there in the mist. And just soften everything down a little bit. There we go. Good. And we're going to mix up a little color, so let's go to the palette. Okay, so right here, I'm just going to scrape this old color here up. And I'm going to grab more black, more Prussian blue, more red. This is the Grumbacher red. Okay, and then sap green. Now, the Grumbacher red is Naphthol red. More, I take some phthalo green with that. Phthalo green is an amazing color for foliage. Here's your little trip. If you want some emerald green, take phthalo green, Hansa yellow, and titanium white, and you'll get that emerald green color. But that's nice dark green color. I'll add a little burnt sienna with that. Just a little bit. Okay. And we're going to take this little fan brush, number 6 fan brush. You can use a number 3 if you want. But we're going to use a number 6 to get them in. And we're going to put some evergreen trees up here. How about it? Let's go up here now. And make a decision where you're going to have your trees. And I'm going to go ahead and say there's a tree right here. It's right there. Okay. And just start to tap in my tree. Just tapping it in. And there's your other side of the tree. See? There. Good old tree. Good old evergreen, fir tree, spruce, whatever you want to call it. And then we'll put it in here. Another one this time. This one's really tall. A lot taller. And we're just going to put it in. And just take your time. This one's really tall tree. Really tall tree. And we'll just stick one right here. Change the distance between them. And push harder as you go down. Okay, there's some nice little trees. Okay, so right here at the bottom, we'll take this old orange brush we've been using. And I'm just going to kind of make a shadow under these trees. They need to have a shadow underneath them. Okay, so remember that. You need to have a shadow. I'm going to add just a little bit of that tree color to that brush. And just get the shadow in. It's very important. You have shadows forming here. Now, this brush does have some yellow paint in it, just a little bit. Just from when we was putting that field in, a little meadow in there. But remember, the shadows are your friend. So remember that. Remember to add your shadows in. Okay, then once we get that shadow going that way, just let it carry its way out. There we go. I just fix that up just a little bit through there. Okay. There we go. I tell you what I'm going to do here now. Is I'm going to take a little burnt sienna and burnt umber, kind of like we did to the mountain up there. And get a little roll of that, and go up here and put ourselves in little tree trunks. Lives right inside this tree. And all three of them. So we're going to be a little more detailed today. Okay, and then take a little bit of that color we used for highlighting the mountain with and just give it a little touch and pull. Kind of a touch mostly. More or less just a touch. And then we'll take our tip of our knife and just scratch around some beautiful little things living in here, some tree branches and stuff. You can do it with an old knife. And whatever shows, it's going to be nice little details. There we go. Let's go down to the palette. Okay, so I took some Amazing White, and we're going to go through the yellow and the ochre, and we're going to go right through the color we used just for the grass. Okay. Maybe a little more of that mountain or that tree color with it. And then just tap the brush in here, just like this. We're going to use number 3, just because I want a little more control up here. Okay, and let's go up here now. Okay, I want to make sure we get a nice close-up on this, because I really want to show you what I'm doing here. I'm going to go right down this tree. Doing it both ways. Going down this one, thinking about individual limbs as you do it. Okay, just like that. And it's going to look like you spent 1,000 years creating this tree, whenever you really did. You just spent just a few more seconds than normal painting this tree again. Okay, there we go. Just a little bit more time than usual. Painting this tree. Okay, just like that. Think about how this tree is structured here. Just like that. And let's let it go right into basically nothing down here at the bottom. Let the paint just run out of the brush. The paint basically run out of that brush. There we go. And then we can just start highlighting the other trees. Basically the same old way. Except for this one here, we're not going to really need to do anything to the left side or the right side of the tree. Mostly going to be messing with the left side of the tree. So that one didn't take very long at all to highlight this one. Kind of let this stay in dark down here at the bottom. I made us add a few little highlights there. And we go on another tree and just highlight them the same way. Try to cover some of that big old tree trunk in there up. Just like that there. We have our tree in. And then we can just make a little lighter color. Just a little bit lighter. And we'll go on this big old tree now. And the highlights are coming from the right. The main highlight is. I'm going to add a little more amazing white just to get that to stick. And I really don't care. I'm going to put a little bit on each side of the tree. If not, the tree is just going to look not balanced. Just an extra little bit of a highlight. Really makes the tree pop. There we go. And then this one here will get a little bit as well. You'll just get just a little bit. Just a little bit on this side. There we go. Maybe just a few little spots on this background one. There we go, there's our trees. Okay, so now we have our trees in there. I just want to make a decision here, because I don't want to spend extremely too much more time on this, because we've already spent quite a bit of time on this painting. But the main focus of this show was to show you how to do a more detailed evergreen tree, how to do more of a detailed mountain. And so I just want to finish up this little landscape here, and then we'll call her finished. So what I'll do is I'm going to grab an old filbert brush, and we're just going to load into some of this green color we use for the trees, dark tree color, into our yellowy mixture. Same thing we kind of did for highlighting those evergreen trees. But I just want to tell you a trick if you want to get more details and more of a realistic feel to your painting, is think of 3 colors. You need your dark color, you need your middle tone, and you need your highlight color. And that gives you that 3-dimensional look. So if you're trying to get a 3-dimensional look, you need to put that dark color on, a mid-tone, and another highlight on top of it. Same thing we did trees, we did same thing with the mountains. So we did the same exact thing there. And so now I just want to take a little bit of a mid-tone and just tap this brush into it. And I just want to put a few little bushes down here below these trees. Okay, so let's go into these trees now. Let's take and just touch it. Now you may not be able to see everything I'm doing here in this. I'm just kind of touching it. Adding some areas for some bushes to be. And this brush is fantastic for making more of a detailed looking little trees and bushes and things. And that's the whole point of this one today, was just to give you a little bit more of that detailed look. Maybe that way. Now I'll go into the highlight color, and I'll just tap right on that color. This could be too... I don't want it to be too bright, because if it's too bright, it's not going to look good. Okay, just like that right there. I just want to show you how to do it, and then set you loose on it. That way you can do these. You can do them. All the techniques that I've done today, we've done on the show before. You know how to do these techniques. It's just taking your time with it. And then just make sure you mix your colors a little better. Just think of multiple tones. Instead of just putting the light color on, we put a middle tone. And then we put the highlight in. Okay. Just think of your individual shapes in your trees and your bushes. There we go. And then we'll make our little lighter color here now. Again, this is only going to hit a few. Simply because I want these to be in shadow. Because if we don't think this is in shadow because these big old trees, but then again, you're also painting a painting. And you have to make a decision. Do you want to be on the more of the artistic side of it? Or do you want to be more on the realistic side of it? And so I'm just going to throw in just a few tiny extra little highlights. Just on a couple. And that'll be all for those. And then we'll just scratch in a few little things that live right through here. Okay, that's good. Okay, what I want to do here now is put like a little tractor trail in there. So I'm just going to take some dark paint here on my brush, some of that tree color. And I'm just going to curve in an area where there might have been a trail here at one point. You can just see maybe one, maybe just a little bit of the other side of that tractor, of the tractor trail here. Just some tire marks, you know. It could be a truck. Then we'll take our Hake brush and then just soften it into the painting. I'll tell you what we'll do. Right through here, what we're going to do is we're going to put in as a fence post, some fencing. So I want some fencing in this. So I'm going to put a little fence right here. Just start making it bigger and bigger as it gets closer to us. You see that? Big old bunch of fencing. Try to make it bigger and bigger as it comes towards us. Then we'll take our old, tell you what, that old mountain color we used earlier that we wasn't going to use, that lighter tone, we'll use that. And I'll tell you what, let's get close up on here and I'll show what we're doing. I'm going to take a little bit of this dark tree color we had. I want these to be more of a weathered looking post. Yeah, I think we may even put some barbed wire on this one. How about it? A little bit that way, and then we'll just take our old fan brush and just put in a shadow for these. Because if you don't put in a little shadow, again, everything's got a shadow. And then again, like I said, we'll use some of that brown and that lighter color we were going to have for the mountain earlier. And just use that on the fencing. I know we'd find a use for it later on in this painting. There we go. And I'm going to just soften the shadow with my Hake brush. You see that? That beautiful little shadow. Good. Just kind of fix up a little area right through here, you know. There we go. Then I'll take my liner brush. I'll just add a little paint there to it and then I'm going to dry it off just so I can get it to a fine point. And then I'm not going to load any paint into this. And I'm just going to go right through every bit of it. I'm just going to put some wiring in. And over here now we got that on there. Just make it all curly and all which way. See? You see that? Make sure I go out this way now. As we're picking up the color. Like that. And then to make it like barbed wire, you just add little jibs and jabs on it if you want to make some little barbed wire impressions. If you would like to. But I'm not going to today. But I'm going to just add some of this into the shadow underneath it. It needs some on the shadow underneath it. It needs some down here. Just gives that more realistic effect. In between the post. There you go. And then we can just soften a little bit of that down as well. I'm just going to add this Hake brush. I'm just going to check some of this color we used just for kind of highlighting. And I'm just going to add some of this in here just to kind of give it just a little texture in this painting. And I'm just going to soften. Just a little texture. A little textury stuff. And there we go. There is that. And we can just thin down some of that color we used for the grasses. And we can just kind of throw in a few little taller ones living in here, taller grasses. You decide however which way you want to make your painting. Just a few little taller ones that live in here. Really helps set it off. Gives it that little extra little finish. And there we go. Look, there's a little bit over here. Remember, he's in the shadow, so that color needs to be just a little darker. Just want some impressions back here. That yeah, there's some tall grass kind of right there in front of that trail. Okay, and with that, I think I've got myself a finished little painting here. Before I go, though, I just want a little more more texture in there. Just needed a little more texture. Just a little more texture. Bring that trail right back out here again. You just see some of the trail there. And then we can just, like I said, just throw in a few little impressions of some darker ones living right through there. Okay, there we go. That's a finished painting. Okay, so that's why I finished signing my painting. It's important to always sign your paintings. I was like using a little script liner brush. Okay, so I do hope you enjoyed painting with me today. This one wasn't a fun one to do. I want to do something a little more detailed. Show you how to play with shadows, how to play with some distance, how to get more details out of your evergreen trees, how to get more details out of your mountain, and we're using the same techniques. And so I do hope you enjoyed this. And this was a very much a requested painting to do. So I hope you enjoy this one. Again, please share these shows. I want as many people as we can on here to learning these amazing techniques of painting wet on wet oil painting. But this one was a super fun one. I love playing with shadows. And remember, the shadow is your friend. The highlight's your enemy, because you put too much in there, it'll destroy every bit of it. So I hope you try this one out. Please join us on Facebook on Brandon's Wet on Wet Club. I'll have a link in the description below. I also have a link to where you can buy the paints and the brushes. My signature brushes and the mediums will be in there. Same with Grumbacher oil paints and the Fredrix canvases. Thank you so much for watching me today. I enjoyed painting with you. Hope you enjoyed painting with me. I want to say God bless you. I love you, but Jesus loves you more. And I'll see you real soon.
The Painting with Magic Show with Brandon Thomas is brought to you by BrandonThomasArtSupply.com.